Welcome to Cinema Ultimate. In this video, we will present the plot of the film Fast and Furious 9, The Fast Saga 2021. The film is directed by Justin Lee and still played by Vin Diesel, Jordana Brewster, Michelle Rodriguez, Ludacris, Trace Gibson, Sung Kang, and John Cena. Fast and Furious 9 this time tells about the life of Dominic Toretto, who must return to undergo a dangerous mission with his team to save the Earth from crime. Here's the storyline. The film begins in 1989 in a car racing arena where Dominic's father is seen racing, named Jack Toretto. Jack and his two young children, Dominic and Jacob, be in a team. As we can see, Jack's car being repaired by Jacob's. Then Jack continues his race. However, when their father was in the race arena, Jack had an accident, then made his car bounce on fire. This made Dom devastated as well as his younger brother, because with his own eye, he saw his father died horribly as a result of the accident. Then the story returns to the present, when Dom and Letty decide to retire and live in the countryside with their son Brian. Soon they had uninvited guests, and Dom told his son to hide. Meanwhile, he and Letty took out their guns, ready to shoot the people who came. However, it turns out that the ones who got out of the car were Roman, Tage, and MC, their old friends. They arrive to inform that Mr. Nobody is in trouble. Mr. Nobody had a plane crash. Before the accident, Mr. Nobody gave a message, and in the plane there is a sophisticated tool belonging to Mr. Nobody. And to his surprise, it turns out that Chipper is with him. They ask Dom and Letty to retrieve the object, and it is suspected that the plane crashed not far from Dom's place, which is northwest of Montecristo, in a remote area managed by a military. However, Dom refuses because he feels that he has retired from doing his old job. In the evening, Letty informs Dom that she will join the mission. Then, after Letty had left, Dom played back the videotape of Mr. Nobody. And at that moment, Dom was surprised to see someone wearing his exact cross necklace. Finally, he changed his mind, so the next day he decides to go with them to Montecristo. Then they arrive where Mr. Nobody fell and found what they were looking for. But after they were about to leave, suddenly a group of military came and shot them there. Letty, who held the object, then fled away from the place quickly. Meanwhile, Roman, who was concerned, managed to finish off some of them, and chase and shoot until they were forced to enter an area that had a lot of mines, while the military only used a few cars that dared to follow them. Letty, who was using her motorbikes, was hit by a military car which made her fall onto Dom's car. Then the object was thrown. Not long at the same time, suddenly someone took the object. Then Dom told Letty to get in the car and immediately chased after him. They were immediately fired upon by a military from the ground and air. At the same time, Tage, Roman, and MC crossed the bridge, which makes the bridge severed. Meanwhile, the man who took the object jumped into the ravine and was taken away by the jet. Meanwhile, Dom was desperate to cross the bridge using only the remaining rope stuck in his car until his car was crushed. Then they survived and the military left them, and the fact was revealed. It was known that the man turned out to be Dom's younger brother, namely Jacob Toretto. Then the scene from the past is shown, the scene after his father's accident, where Jacob meets a racer who accidentally nudges his father's car to death. Dom, who tried to separate them, actually killed the racer live using a wrench, and as a result of the accident, Dom had to languish in prisons, leaving his brother alone. Then back to the present, Jacob is seen waiting for one of his friends named Otto, and there is also Shipper, but he is in the box covered by thick glass. The object that Jacob had taken turned out to be unusable because it was not intact. Then Jacob asked Shipper to find out the whereabouts of half of the object. At Mr. Nobody's hideout, Dom and his team began to work out a plan and divide up their respective tasks. Soon Dom's sister, Mia, came to see them to join the mission, this time because all of this was related to her brother Jacob. Then Ramsey explained the greatness of the object, which was once a secret project called Ares. It turned out to be able to control all weapons on the earth, and it would be very dangerous if the object fell into the wrong hands. It contains two separate sections that only had one password, and if Jacob got it, they assumed Jacob would hook it up to the satellite and hack all the weapons. However, that keyword has long since disappeared. Mr. Nobody gave them a hint by showing a photo of their friend, Han. They also made a plan and began to split up to stop Jacob and find Han, who should have died in Tokyo. Dom tells them that Han is very happy with the country of Mexico. Then, suddenly Dom thought back to his past when he was in prison. While studying the engine of a car, Dom met another inmate, and the inmate told him how to sabotage a car so that it exploded. Hearing that, Dom remembered Jacob, who had last repaired the engine of his father's car. After Dom was released from prison, he met Jacob, who at that time often won wild race there. He also challenged Jacob with a bet. If Dom wins, Jacob is not allowed to go home. Then they race and are won by Dom, while Jacob must accept his defeat to leave his family immediately. This is the origin of Dom and Jacob's breakup. Remembering his old workshop, Dom comes there and meets Buddy, his father's best friend. Then Buddy explained that Jacob did it because he felt Dom was too hard on him. He informs that Jacob is currently in London, and before leaving, Buddy asked Dom to make peace with his past. While in Tokyo, Mia and Letty continue to search for Han until they find a clue, namely the Mexican flag. On the other hand, Tage and Roman meet the best machine makers, and one of them is Sean, Han's friend in the movie Tokyo Drift. They told that they had created a rocket-powered car, but when the speed was tested with a jet plane, the car exploded immediately. Because there is no time, Roman is forced to ask them to immediately make a car, but the type of car that doesn't explode. Dom is already in London, meets his old friend Magdalena to find out where Jacob is, but because Magdalena has stolen the diamonds as well as the car, they were eventually chased by the police who were there. In the car, Dom immediately asks about the whereabouts of Jacob, and after evading the police, she takes Dom to Jacob's place. Dom was greeted by Otto, who didn't know that Dom was Jacob's older brother. After successfully entering and meeting with Jacob, they also point guns at each other. In the midst of tension, Otto suddenly brings the best Interpol and manages to catch Dom. However, it turns out that Interpol is an old friend of Dom's, whom Dom had once helped, and in return, he also gave up the Dom. Then, Dom is given a weapon that has Jacob's biometric code on the gun, so Dom has no more trouble tracking down Jacob's whereabouts. While in Tokyo, Letty and Maya enter a house that is thought to be a Han's house. At the same time, a woman appeared who immediately told them to duck, and suddenly they were attacked by a group of unknown people. When Letty was surrounded, they were immediately paralyzed by someone who turned out to be Han. In Edinburgh, Ramsey is using the weapon that was given to Dom, and she managed to use it to track down Aries. And it turned out that the object was inside the Catholic Church building. When Ramsey continued to monitor all the camera in that place, suddenly the camera has a system failure. At the same time, Jacob was already inside the church and managed to take Aries' piece. When he tells what happened, Tage and Roman accidentally find a car that has a very strong magnetic force. Intrigued by the car, they immediately open it, but inside the car, it turned out that there were men from Jacob and they were arrested. At the same time, Dom chases Jacob, who is trying to escape. Realizing Otto's presence, Dom asks Ramsey to follow him, even though she cannot actually get in a car. Without realizing it, Ramsey got into a car, which turned out to be Tage and Roman, who were being held hostage by Jacob's men. When she was about to start the car, Ramsey pressed the wrong button, which turned out to be the button to activate the magnetic force. Along the way, Ramsey hit anything that got in her way, and not only that, her car was able to attract anything that was nearby. Meanwhile, Dom managed to catch up with Jacob until a fight breaks out between them, but Jacob managed to escape. Dom tells Ramsey to keep chasing Jacob, but who would have thought that the magnetic device contained in the cars was used properly by Ramsey. And in the end, Jacob was caught after the car he was driving was successfully pulled. In a different place, Otto ordered all his men to release Jacob. Seeing his behavior, Shipper immediately laughed and said that Otto was just his puppet. At the hideout, Letty surprises them by bringing Han behind them. Instantly everyone was silent, because no one thought that Han was still alive. Han then revealed the fact that the death at that time was just a fabrication plan by Mr. Nobody. In Tokyo, he is asked to do a mission by Mr. Nobody to take Aries in a house where the occupant is a scientist and leave a girl he has cared for until now. The girl is named Ellie and is now the target of the people because she is the only one who can access it. Actives Aries. After talking for a long time, suddenly they were surrounded by troops from Otto and they managed to get Jacob out. There was an argument between Dom and Jacob until finally Jacob confirmed to Dom that there was a secret between him and his father, where at that time their father was in debt and Dom was not allowed to know by his father. In fact, when his father raced, he was asked to lose the race in order for his debt to be considered paid off, and that's why he asked Jacob to put something on his car. Jacob didn't really want to harm his father, but because it was his father's request, he was forced to do all that. Then, Jacob went to force Ellie, because Ellie is the source of all the keys related to Aries. When they are surrounded, Tage and Roman activate the magnetic button to pull out all the weapons used by them. Then, they escape through the upper part. When they were about to go out, Dom deliberately stayed inside to block them. There, Dom beat Otto's men one by one until finally he was determined to knock down the pole which caused Dom to fall. When Dom drowns, he is reminded of his past, where he was shown his father preparing to race before the accident happened to him. He felt guilty for Jacob because he didn't want to be away from his brother. In the end, Dom woke up when he was saved by Letty. They also set up a plan to stop the evil intentions that will be carried out by Jacob. They plan a crazy stunt by assembling a car into a rocket, and Tage and Roman do the stunt. They are both assigned by Dom to go into space to destroy the satellite before Jacob uses it to activate Aries. Switch to another place. Jacob and Otto, who want to launch a rocket into space. Then, they told Ellie to activate the system from Ares. Jacob then connected the object to the satellite. However, the process will be activated once the satellite reaches Earth orbit. Then they went to take Ellie in an armored car, while Dom and the others followed them from behind. After the satellite reaches the specified orbit, they immediately start it. Even though it continues to get attacked, Dom and the others can easily get rid of them. On the other hand, Han and Mia try to get into the car to save Ellie, and in the end they manage to take over the car. Paige and Roman finally succeed in their mission by destroying the satellite, while on the other hand, the shipper felt that something was wrong, and when he checked it, Otto's men came and immediately beat Jacob. Seeing the fight, Dom realized that Jacob has been betrayed. Then, Jacob's position has now been replaced by Cypher's. Fortunately, when Jacob was about to fall, Dom immediately crashed his car to save Jacob, until finally Maya came to help and push Jacob to get into her car. In the end, Dom and Jacob worked together to stop Otto. Dom and Ramsey tried to get into the car, and in the end, they managed to deactivate the Ares system. Saying this, Cypher then attacked them using his automatic plane, but the plane was destroyed after crashing into a car that was controlled by Dom. After that, Dom and Jacob finally reconciled, and as a form of peace, Dom returned his father's car that had been given to him. Then they gathered again, and the movie is over. Okay guys, if you like our channel, support us with subscribe and turning on the bell, like, comment and share, so that you don't miss our next video and our channel can grow even more. See you guys.